This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 401 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show by HorseLovers.com. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our sponsors this week are HorseLovers.com, Uncle Jimmy's Innovation Products. Well, this week we have a lot of fun things for you. We have a book review from an auditor. One of our auditors, Misty, is going to review the book, A Journey to Softness. And then all the way from Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden, we have one of our listeners named Sarah Holm, who's going to stop by and talk a little Arabian, a little Sweden, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to an international week of the listener. And then we're going to round out the day with Dr. Tucker. Now, Dr. Tucker is a country-renowned dentist, and we've had him on our show years ago. I don't know if you remember that, Helena, but years ago
how can I forget?
Yeah, you can't forget Dr. Tucker. He's no power tools. He believes in doing it the old-fashioned way.
By hand.
And he stopped by last week to do our horses. So I had a chance to get him in the studio here and do a quick interview with him. And he has a book out, too, so we'll talk about that. All coming up on today's show.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They'll bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
I'm Glenn the Geek.
And I'm Helena B., and you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Howdy, Helena.
I am such a happy girl.
Why? What happened?
I'm just feeling grateful.
Yeah, you are. You're very up today.
But really, it's because I groomed my horse yesterday.
I actually thought it was because for your new show, it appears you get to go out to swanky restaurants every week and have fun.
I get to go out to swanky restaurants every week and have fun. We're taking a sailing lesson. Yes.
Yeah, this new show is opening up doors of things you never thought you'd do.
Well, I'm a little torn between, I'm constantly drawing parallels between horse people and boat people. And now I'm like, oh, geez, I'm going to have to give up a trail ride so I can go learn how to sail. What's going to happen? My horses are not going to be happy.
Oh, you better hope Buck doesn't get into sailing or you'll never see him again. He'll be out there on the water.
Oh, I know. Well, I'll just have to figure out some way to squeeze in a ride in the morning, head over to Newport, take a quick sail. I don't know.
Now, do they have golf? They must have golf courses in Newport too, right?
They do have a couple of golf courses in Newport.
And you played golf for years, didn't you?
I did. My dad was just an amazing golfer his entire life. My grandfather, golf goes way back in our family, and Buck's a golfer too. So we'll probably hit the links a couple of times.
I see some golf reviews in the making.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, on Sundays, in the fall and winter, everybody has football on and, families are kind of doing their thing and football's on in the background. Well, we have golf on Sundays on TV.
You taking naps? Is that it?
We very, very rarely put a television on. We don't watch TV, but on Sundays, there's some kind of, wide world of sports that are on when we're stuck in the house. So Grace yesterday was sitting on the couch and she was actually watching golf.
What's wrong with that child?
Watching it, I know. And then she's like, Mom, what's par? What's a bogey? And I was like, oh my God.
Got her hooked.
Get me excited here. Yeah. So that Newport show will open up a lot of opportunities. But it's, it's fun. And Buck and I get to do it together. There's a lot of love and warmth. Do you remember the show, The Love Boat?
Yes. How could you forget The Love Boat when you're our age?
Okay. So that Newport show is going to be our new podcasting version of The Love Boat.
What's her name? Julie? Are you the cruise director?
Julie
the blonde
McCoy.
crew. Oh, you remember her last name. I didn't remember
Julie
her last
McCoy.
name.
Dude, I grew up with like Charlie's Angels,
The
The
Love Boat, Fantasy
Boat,
Island always
Fantasy
came on immediately
Island.
after The Love Boat. It was Love
Yep.
Boat and then Fantasy Island. Yep.
Wonder Woman. That was when
plane,
TV was awesome. Yes, yes. Hervé Villechaize. I was a child of a TV child. So if you think of that Newport show, it's like a modern day version of The Love Boat.
Oh, and it's,
How cute.
I got to tell you, the production value is increasing. If you haven't had a chance to at least listen every week, you guys you're, as any show does, it like ours, it develops and grows and gets more refined. And I can see that every week when I listen to it. So,
Oh, good.
It really
Good,
is.
good, good. We're trying. You're a good teacher.
it really is. You're doing a good job. All right. Well, we got a show to get to. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. And right after this word from our title sponsor at horselovers.com, we are going to have a book review by one of our auditors. One of the cool things about being an auditor is you get to review the many books that we get in. Trafalgar Square and a couple of the other publishers send us books for review, and we send them out to auditors, and then they come on the shows and they review them for us. Well, Auditor Misty West, who we had on as for the your listener. Misty was on with us a few weeks ago, actually. Did a book called A Journey to Softness by Mark Rashid. Is it Rashid? Rashid? Something like that.
Yep. I have a couple of his books.
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
she's going to review that. Jennifer did this one, so I don't even know what she said. So let's take a listen, and we'll be back. We all get in a rut when it comes to shopping for horse supplies online. If you have not tried horselovers.com yet, then you are missing out on one of the world's largest online tack shops and all the best brands like Noble Outfitters, Ariat, Turn 2, Tough One, Professional's Choice, Weaver, and many, many more. Use coupon code HRN at checkout to receive 10% off your order. That's coupon code HRN, stands for Horse Radio Network, at checkout to get 10% off your entire order. The coupon expires April 30th, so get on over to horselovers.com today and save on all your riding needs.
And I'm so happy that I'm being joined by Misty West, one of our faithful auditors, and she's going to do a book review for us today. Greetings, Misty.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing just fabulous. So what book are you going to read or read? What book are you going to review for us today?
I'm going to review A Journey to Softness by Mark Rashid, published in 2016. It's a Trafalgar Square book, but it's put out by the Horse and Rider Books. So,
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, there you go.
yeah, they have a website, horseandriderbooks.com. So, if anybody's interested,
All right.
check
Now,
that out.
tell me a little bit about Journey to Softness. What is it about?
Okay, well, The Journey to Softness was actually a very good read. It was written kind of in story fashion, and it's sort of Mark Rashid's overall, like his philosophy on horses and training and riding and horsemanship. And overall, it was very well written. It was very affirming or reaffirming to me about, some of the beliefs I have as far as horsemanship and what good horsemanship and the things that we should be doing, I think, going forward with horses. So I picked out a couple of passages I thought were very relevant, and then there was a quote on the back that I really liked.
Tell
I
me.
don't know. Okay, the quote on the back, and I think it kind of sums up the book quite well. It says, it's a quote by Mark Rashid, and it says, "There is strength in muscle, but power in softness." So without a lot of words, I mean, there's actually a lot in that sentence or in that quote.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a very good summary kind of what the book was about.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because Mark has a background in martial arts, and that makes a lot
Absolutely.
of sense.
Right. He's a second degree, I believe, black belt in Aikido. So I am not super familiar with martial arts, but I do believe there is value and relevance in martial arts, with horsemanship. So
is this
this definitely made me more interested in it.
is this more of, I'm getting the impression this is more of a book about the philosophy and the mindset of riding and being a good horseman versus a how-to book?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it was quite entertaining. Interestingly, I read it first, and it was pretty light reading. Actually, it's on the surface. It seems it's less than 200 pages. There's nothing, there's no complex like how to do anything in the book. But I went back after reading it because I just had some feelings just about about what I'd read and some of the things that were being said. And getting into the book a little more, I actually did more active reading and got some my highlighter out and my pen. And there's actually quite a lot he says in the stories that he tells. And you kind of have to, I think you have to digest that a little bit first and then go back and reread it to kind of, understand what he's trying to tell you. And like I said, it's not, or like you said, it's really not a how-to book. It's more of a just, it's more of his philosophy. But I think as you write or as you, moving forward, there's a lot you think about later with what he said.
So it's
I found that very interesting.
Well, any good book, good story, good movie, good podcast, they tend to do that. It sounds like this one is a book that is a good read because it is easy and comfortable and uplifting to read. You don't have to focus and have complete silence. Some books, you really, really have to focus very hard to get the most out of them.
Absolutely.
This one, it sounds like if you want to, you can just kick back on the beach and read it.
Yes, definitely. In storytell fashion, and which was entertaining, right?
Or if you really want to get all the tiny little nuggets and grains of sand out of there, you can read each one and sort of contemplate on them a little bit.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I felt reading this book. And there was one quote in particular that stands out when, thinking about that. If I could go ahead and read that.
Please do.
It was one of the first things that I underlined, and it's on page 91.
You're one of those people that you write in your books.
Well, not always, but this one I just felt compelled to.
It's highlight
There was just a lot that I could take out and think about. Okay, so, and in the end, the broader our spectrum of knowledge, the easier it is for us to find effective ways of communicating. The better our communication, the more paths we'll see to the development of true softness in ourselves and our horses. And I like that quote a lot. Like I think about that sometimes, just as I'm writing, and just some of his philosophies. And like I said, it's nothing groundbreaking really for me. It's more in line with what I'm thinking. It's just maybe a little more in depth or presents some different ways of thinking about things that I already feel or kind of believe. So, and it's very reaffirming to, there's so many people these days interested in this kind of horsemanship and riding. So I like that a lot.
Interesting that you say that because the quote itself addresses what you just said in that the more ways we can find to communicate something, either by being the communicator or the one receiving the communications, the better off we are. And the way he said that got through to you because it was a particular way that really resonated with you as a reader. So that's kind of ironic that the very quote that you picked out, the reason you picked it out is because he found that particular path that worked for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way, but that's exactly right. I was thinking of it more just like with the horse, but he says with ourselves too. And I do think, one thing I've noticed since reading the book, and I always try to be conscious of this, because I think one of the first people that influenced a change or a paradigm shift in my writing from a young adult till now was Sally Swift. And, one of the four basics that she always focused on was breathing. And I noticed a lot when I was just focusing on softness and just thinking about what I'd read in, Mark Rasheed's teaching. And I've actually seen him, I guess 2 years ago at Equine Fair in Ohio. But I didn't buy anything of his, or I just kind of watched and didn't really, I don't know, I didn't process what he had said that much at the time. But I noticed that when I'm writing and I'm focusing on my softness, my breathing is a lot deeper, and I won't notice it right away. But then I'll realize I'm taking these, breaths through my center, more deeply. And I don't know, I think that's interesting that it's kind of in line with something that I tried to add to my toolbox 20 years ago.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I thought
Very
that was
interesting.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
by sifting down to the smallest grains of sand as you read through it a second time and started to take notes both mentally and visually by marking in your book, you were able to make that book that's all about philosophy and the big picture into your very own personalized how-to.
Sure, right. Like I try to incorporate just kind of some of his, this is a little new to me, but like his specific teachings, but not new to me, I guess, like his philosophy. But just thinking about what he said and kind of digesting the material in the book, like I do think it's, it does have an impact if you rue on it and kind of take it to heart a little bit, I guess.
You got to ruminate. That's right.
Yes, ruminate. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Now,
Yep.
In closing, we have to give this thing its official flake rating. In your 5-flake bale, how many flakes is Journey to Softness by Mark Rashid going to get?
I think I would give it a 5-flake just because, like I said, it's easy to read on the surface, but there's really a lot more in there. And it's entertaining too. There were some really entertaining parts, and I was actually, after our review, I wanted to put a couple things on the Auditor page that I thought were really entertaining or funny or, poignant just for, our group.
So it's a good book on many levels.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And folks can get Journey to Softness by Mark Rashid at horseandriderbooks.com, which is the retail arm of Trafalgar Square. So horseandriderbooks.com. And when we post this review up on the show, we will be sure to put a link to it so folks can find it easily. And thank you very much, Misty West, for being our book reviewer today.
Thank you so much. I completely enjoyed it. I love books, so this was great for me.
Perfect for you. Yay.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Horse people know that they can count on Ovation's value, quality, and style when it comes to hard-wearing schooling attire, affordable show gear for horse and rider, or top-of-the-line equipment for riders at every level. From breeches to bridle work, saddles to stock ties, helmets to half chaps, Ovation is the premier brand of riding apparel and equipment for you and your horse in the United States, outfitting riders at every level from head to toe. Ask for Ovation brand riding helmets, breeches, and footwear at your local tack store, or go online to ovationriding.com and see the fantastic variety of quality, fashion-forward, affordable products from Ovation. ovationriding.com.
I want to remind everybody that we will be at Rolex this week. We'll be doing a couple of shows from there. If you are coming in to Rolex, and I know a lot of our listeners are, we are going to be doing a show at 9 a.m. Friday and 10 a.m. Sunday. We're recording shows, and we'll put them out immediately after for Horses in the Morning. Now, you'll find us if you want to come by and watch or say hi or sit in for a couple minutes. We are going to be located in the indoor arena, the old indoor arena where all the shopping is. You remember that, Helena, where all the shopping is.
Yes,
and
sir.
we are, as you walk in the front of the building from the front of the park, if you walk in that building from the front of the park, we're on the left, kind of on the mezzanine level. We're going to be set up on the middle of the left, over there toward the left. You'll see us if you keep walking around to the left.
To the left.
Yep, go to the
Just
left.
remember
and you'll
the
see
left.
us over there with, we'll have some big name riders with us and some all kinds of guests. We always have some fun stuff. Jamie will be there. Jennifer will be there. And if you guys remember Samantha Clark, she's there covering the event. We're going to try and rustle her up for a couple of minutes. We haven't seen Samantha in a while.
Wonderful.
So that'll be fun. I know a lot of our listeners, including Jerry and his 25 kids, are going to be there.
Oh, great.
So they should be there as well. So check us out. If you're not going, then take a listen to our special coverage of Horses in the Morning on both of those days. We'll be putting those out on the feed. Another important announcement is that very shortly, it's been submitted to iTunes and will be shortly to Android, we will have an ability for you to listen to the live show, to Horses in the Morning live on our app, on our Horse Radio Network app. We've never had that ability before, but now we are. And also, that'll mean when we do live coverage like we did at Road to the Horse or any of the other live events we do, you'll also be able to listen to those on the app. So keep in mind that it does use your minutes, not minutes, but it uses your data from your data plan. So if you're on Wi-Fi, then you don't have to worry about it, or if you have unlimited data, you don't have to worry about it. But it would be like listening to Pandora on your phone. That's the kind of data that it will use. Just want to remind everybody of that. But that's coming up, and will be updated on your apps shortly. And I think that's about it for housekeeping stuff. Well, our year of the listener continues, and we're going international, aren't we, Helena?
We're super international, like superhero, international podcasting superheroes.
And we have Sarah Holm on with us from Sweden coming up next. Well, hi, Sarah. Welcome to the show all the way from Sweden.
Well, hello, and I'm happy to be here with you, all the way from Sweden.
We knew we had Swedish listeners because I can see what countries the downloads come from. Mm-hmm. And until you, though, started popping up last year and became an auditor, and we started talking more, and then you guys submitted for the Radiothon a song that you sang in the barn. It was so much fun.
Yes.
Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And you know what? We'll play it after your interview today, just so everybody can hear
please
it.
Do. The girls will love it.
And it was your friends, right? You got together?
Yeah, they are my the daughters of my closest neighbor, and they do help me a lot with the horses, and they're charming people, and they sing like angels.
Oh, they do, and you did
sure
it in
do.
the barn, so there was a little bit of an echo, and it was cool.
Yeah, they
magical.
are so talented. Yeah, they are so talented, and they are Christmas lovers as I am. So we had this Christmas party, and then they sang for us, and we recorded and submitted it to you, and it was absolutely.
I think I played it a couple times that day.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I heard their voices over and over again.
This year we're doing it again.
That might be just me.
Means new songs this year. We're doing it again. You'll have to get double the number of people in the barn this time.
Yeah.
Get a whole chorus going. Well, Sarah, I have to ask you first, where are you located?
40 kilometers south of Stockholm, Sweden.
That's a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
It
lot of
is.
water.
It is.
You'd love
it's
it,
a fantastic
Helena.
place. Yeah, it's
And
fantastic.
You're born and raised in Sweden, so you are.
Yes, I'm originally
your-
from the other part, from the other side of Sweden. I'm from Gothenburg on the west coast, but then love pulled me over here.
Now, is it very different? Like in the United States, it's so big. We really have almost different subcultures in our country. Are there differences in the different geographic locations within Sweden?
Well, we are very oblong. The north of Sweden is very cold in wintertime, and very dark, since we have the polar night in the north of Sweden, but we don't in the south. I think it's 2,000 kilometers long, from north to south. Mm. So it's quite a big difference in the climate, really. Yeah. But most,
so
most
is the
Sweden,
southern part of Sweden a little bit more amenable to keeping horses and
yes,
the farm life in general?
Yeah, most of the people who compete a lot live in the south of Sweden, in what's called Skåne, and there's the big shows. Falsterbo. I don't know if you know about it, but it's a big show in Sweden, Falsterbo, and then a lot of breeders and a lot of horsey culture is going on down south.
Okay, so not too. That's sort of how we are in the United States. You do some things
yeah.
in the Northeast, but all the big fun stuff happens down in the South, where it's a little bit more.
All they do in the north of Sweden is ice sculptures and dog sleds. That's
yeah. I know you had a guy on who was doing the dog sleigh thing.
Yes,
a few months ago.
North of Sweden is kind of like Canada, north of Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar.
I have friends who live here in Rhode Island half the year, 6 months out of the year, and the other half of the year they live in Sweden, and they're just north of Stockholm. But they're like, that's enough. They're not very far outside of the city, but just enough where it's really. They come here for a little relief from the cold and dark. Like, you come to New England for relief.
For relief, yeah.
Okay, have at it.
Yeah, but I think that that's the main thing. The main problem in the wintertime is it's so dark. It's pitch black in December, and then it's a little bit better now. It's quite okay, but in summertime it's light all the time. So you get used to it, but I think it's quite hard for people who is not used to it and come here for the first time.
And to give
in December
people
to celebrate.
Kind of a correlation, you're for people in the United States that have never been there, you're about what would be equal to halfway up a Canada. So it's for us, it would be considered way north.
Way north.
Latitude-wise.
Yeah,
Okay.
latitude-wise. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, my daughters are living in Toronto, and it's about the same.
And you have Saint Bernards.
I do.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
my
Instant best
drooly
friends.
people.
My people. I've had
they're
two
the
Saint
best.
Bernards in
Oh,
my
really?
lifetime, and they are the most wonderful dogs.
Yes, I've had them for all my life, and I can't even think of another kind of dog really. My husband wants to have those English bulldogs, but every time we shop for a new dog, I always get a new Saint Bernard.
Well, they're made for your climate, right? I mean, that's what they're made for.
Yeah. And they are really not very happy in summertime, but in wintertime they're just frolicking and enjoying every single snowflake.
Yes.
So describe for us the area that you live. Is it really horsey, or a lot of horse people around your area?
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of horses. I think I'm quite on the countryside, and there are horses everywhere. And my closest neighbor, apart from the singing girls, is a boarding stable with 15 horses in it, and we do have a lot of competition going on in the area, and a lot of small breeders and a lot of everyday riders. So it's really a lot of horses, and there you meet a horse trailer every time you go out.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And how did you get into Arabians?
Oh, when I was living in outside Gothenburg, my closest neighbors in that area was one of the most prominent Arabian breeders in the world at the time, Aspenes Arabian Stud. And I was 8 years old when they moved there, and I saw those beautiful horses, and I just couldn't. I had this horrible Viking pony, Swedish Viking pony that kicked me and bit me. Oh God!
Why do I hear the word horrible in front of the word pony all the time?
And then I saw those these beautiful creatures with they were almost etherical, and I just wanted one. And I was working at that place, and I was learning quite a lot. And when I was 20, I got my first Arabian. And then I couldn't stop, because they are very special horses.
What's your favorite thing about Arabians? Well, first of all, what kind of riding do you do, or what do you do with your horses?
Well,
and how well
everything.
suited are they for that?
I think they are the best horses for a family, because you can do anything with them, but they are not specialists in anything else from endurance. And endurance, this is maybe not the wise thing to say, but I think it's so boring. I don't like sitting on a horse for 5 hours, but I do everything else with them. So, but right now I have this mare that I'm going to start compete in dressage with this summer, and but we do a little jumping and just trekking for the fun of it.
Trekking for the fun of it. That's a nice way to spend a lifetime.
I think it is. And then we have two that we drive as well, and that is really, well, it's a bit challenging because they have a light bum, but
but a big heart.
Big heart, light bum. And,
Big heart, light bum.
Yeah. And
how many do you have? Do you keep your horses at home, and how many?
Yeah, I
are
keep
there?
them at home. I think we've got 20, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not happy about counting them, especially not when my husband is around.
Is around.
So then it's about 12.
That's funny.
and then the little ones, we got some Welsh mountain ponies as well, and the alibi for that is my son, who's 5 years old, and they are like mini Arabians, and I think we have 4 of those. Yes, we do. And then we got one big warm blood jumping horse, Holsteiner, as well, and that's about it.
Okay. So and do you have a spare room? Because I'm free for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, we do. You're most welcome.
and what now? So you've got a farm. You've got horses. You've got St. Bernards. You've got some barn kitties, I'm sure. You have children as well. More than one?
5.
5 kids?
5 kids, yeah.
Wow.
And,
when do you have time for horses?
Well, the thing is that 4 of them are grown up.
Okay.
And then I got this little dessert child when I was well mature. And so I have one little child, and the other ones are, they tend to themselves, I hope. Hopefully they do.
They usually move back at some point, don't they?
Yeah, they do. When the cash is up.
Yep.
Yep.
That's funny. So now you, how many babies do you have a year? Yeah, now I mean horse babies.
Well, 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Something
Okay,
like that,
and then do you sell them? Is that the idea? Train them and sell them, or sell them as babies, or?
I don't understand that question.
Now we know. She doesn't sell any of them.
No, preferably not. I'm a terrible hoarder, but I do sell some horses at times. I do, but I don't want to sell them when they're small. I want to sell them when I know what they might be good for, because all Arabians are not good for everything,
right?
And very many just try to breed the show horses, but for the beauty shows, but I want them to do some just proper family work too, even if they're pretty.
So you're really working on creating this line of all around family horses who can do just about anything, but then you're looking for some strengths and weaknesses that each individual horse may have, and then perhaps finding a good home for them. Do you do the training yourself? Do you have a trainer that comes in?
Yeah, well, breaking them for riding is that is my job, and I do have a girl who is she's the suicide pilot for the worst horses. And I
like that term. I've never heard that term before.
We all need friends like that.
No, but she works here every weekday, and she's extremely talented.
Do they get paid extra to be a suicide pilot? Because that sounds dangerous.
Well, I think she's pleased with what she gets. I hope so. But she's extremely talented, and the horses love her. But then the show training, when you go to the the beauty shows, or what should I call them? What do you say? Not the ridden competitions, but the in-hand competitions. Yeah. Then I try to train them myself, but I'm not a handler. I'm not a good handler, so I have a good handler to show them for me. And the best horses that I want to compete with internationally, they go away to get the proper care, because I'm not that good at it.
But now, I'm telling you, we're looking at your Facebook page right now, and you have the most beautiful horse. Arabians just photograph better than any other horse does.
They do. They do.
But your horses, there's many different kinds of Arabians. Your horses have the very chiseled face, if you know what I mean.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And they have. I look for the chiseled face, but I'm not. Many people who breed Arabians just look at the head, but I want them to move well That's the first thing. If they don't move well, I'm not interested.
Well, that was what I was going to say, and I'm sure Helena's noticing this too. They have the fine chiseled heads, but their bodies are bulkier than a lot of Arabians I've seen.
I want the powerhouses. I want them to be able to move and to carry and to pull and to be working athletic horses. And they're out from early in the morning until late in the evening, and I feed them well. So they should be strong and healthy. And the young horses, especially, I put them out in paddocks with a lot of climbing, so they develop a lot of muscle.
Right.
So yeah, and I have the fortune to be able to do that because it's quite a hilly farm we got. And that's what the all the little mountains are good for, training horses.
Go ahead, Helena.
Now, when you have babies around, what's your routine? How long do you keep them with their moms, and when do you start handling them on the ground and stuff?
Well, I try to start touching them the second they're born, because you get a better contact with them if you can touch them as quick as possible, and then you let them alone. And I wean them when they're about 8 or 9 months, because I want them to be with their mother as long as possible, if I can, if they don't need, if there's no other reason to separate them. And I put on a halter the first days, and then we try to clip. Maybe we don't clip them for real, but we use the clipper, so they can feel the vibrations and they can hear the sound immediately when they're just a few days old, because then it's so much easier to do it when you need to clip them. And
that's a great idea.
Yeah. So imprinting them with a lot of sensations at a very early age, and you shouldn't overdo it. It's 30 seconds for each, and then it's done. So you shouldn't bore them or make them tired. They should just be fine with whatever you do.
Right. And be aware of the time limitation that you can overstimulate them or you can bore them.
Yeah. And they could just block you out if you're too.
Like kids.
Just exactly.
Really, it's not much.
It should be interesting, but not too wearing. So and then you start. It really you can feel it when they want to work a little more, or when you can put them on a leash and use all that, and just put on and off, to put the halter on and off every day once. That makes all the difference in the world when you wean them off, and then you should try to make them work without the mother. So baby steps, but every day, and not overdoing anything.
And you've been posting pictures too. You're building yourself a new barn.
Oh yes, we are. Oh my God, we are. We have had this very, very cold, chilly barn for some time. It's just. I think you have that a lot in the US. Just single wood walls. Yeah.
Yep.
And I've been living with that for quite some time now. And now we're building a more proper barn for this climate, and it's fantastic.
It's a palace. You're building a palace.
It is.
It looks very nice.
Yes, I know. It's a cathedral for horses, really, and it's really my husband's idea. I would have settled for way less, but he wanted to do something very special, and so I just let him.
That's lovely. Glenn, you need to get him on the Horse Husbands episode,
I do.
so he can set all these American horse husbands straight, okay?
Yeah.
When we say palace, we mean picture like a old-fashioned European barn on an estate, and that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yes. It is a bit like that. It is. And
how many stalls are going to be in it?
14.
14. Okay.
14, yeah. So we didn't want to make it. My husband has this silly idea that if it doesn't build too many stalls, then maybe I will not collect so many horses.
That's what annexes are for.
Yeah, that's what neighbors are for.
Well, they could go in the annex.
Go to the
And the
neighbor's
thing is
house.
that I've got the cold barn still, so I could just get 14 new horses.
Yeah, so the ponies go out there. The ponies go out there. Well, that's very cool. Congratulations on that, too.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
got
you.
to
It's a
ask you a
dream come true.
question. We have other listeners in Sweden. Why do you all speak such terrific English?
Well, the thing is, mainly we do study English at school, of course, but then I think it's the subtitle thing. I think it's because all the television series and the movies and everything is subtitled instead of
Dubbed.
voiceover.
Yeah.
There is no voiceover.
Oh.
So and it tends to make us try. We think we sound so English, but mainly we sound as if we're in the middle of the Atlantic Sea, and then we sound very Swedish too. But because some words stick, and some expressions, and some accents, and then we just mix it up, and then we think we are very continental or cosmopolitan.
Well, you have great English.
Thank you.
Your accent is very easy to listen to. It's not very strong, but it's distinct, but I know I'm going to contradict myself. It's soft, but still distinct. So it's really nice to listen to.
It's a lot easier than some of the Scottish and Irish we've had on.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's hard.
which get really
That's
thick.
really hard.
Yeah, and they speak English.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
So, well, all right. Well, we've talked quite a long time, and it's time for the rapid fire questions.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
I'm interested to the answers to that. But before we go on to that, we do have an announcement to make, and I'm very excited about this. Is that Sarah and we're determining a co-host yet, but Sarah is going to be hosting a special Horses in the Morning weekend episode every month about horses in Sweden, and she's going to have different people on. She's going to have different guests on for Sweden. It will be in English, otherwise I can't edit it. And wouldn't have any idea what she was saying.
Good point.
Yeah. So it will be in English, and because so many people over there speak English, it's going to be easier for her to do. So we're looking forward to that, and that's going to start in May, right?
Yes, in May, and it will be so much fun. I hope. I'm sure I will have loads of fun, and I hope some people will join me in that. And we'll just see whatever it will develop to.
Very good. Well, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to having you. All right. Are you ready, Helena?
I am ready. Are you ready, Sarah?
I'm ready.
Okay. So one of the best ways that we get to know somebody is to ask about what kinds of food they like. So the question to you is, what is your favorite food?
Pasta.
Pasta.
And lasagna or spaghetti or farfalle or anything.
I was
love
expecting
pasta.
fish for some reason in Sweden.
Yeah,
or something healthier.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well, it's good to know that you can eat pasta because so many people can't eat pasta anymore that very few people claim is
I'm a all carb girl. I couldn't survive on no carbs. Oh my God.
Well, you're a busy woman, so I can see you actually needing a lot of carbs. So then what kinds of food won't you eat?
Well, I can't stand, some kind of seafood, as in escargot or cockles and mussels and stuff like that. I think it's so nasty.
Shellfish. Okay.
Yeah, but lobster is great. I love lobster.
Okay.
But the other one I would love to share with some. No, I can't do it because I think it's like insects or snails or stuff like that.
Okay, but the big sea bugs are okay.
They are good. They're good.
They're quite good actually.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. Do you have an equestrian pet peeve? You must, because we all do. And what is it?
I can't stand when people treat their horses like children or other people, and not understanding that they are horses.
Not respecting their inherent nature.
Yeah, and saying, "Oh, he wants this, and I can't do that, and I might hurt his feelings," and he wants a blanket, and he wants me to do this. Horses, horses are not people.
No,
they are
they're
horses.
not.
I love that.
That's
And
wonderful.
and I had a good friend, really saying, what I'm thinking, and she was saying that horses are not people. Horses are like a running stream. If you wanted to do something, you need to open a door, shut another, and just move away. So you can't discuss and you can't stand in the way for the running stream. And I think that's quite wise. And you can't discuss with a horse or try to persuade. You should just make it easy for them to make the choice you wanted to make.
So in other words, you have to work with the nature of the thing that you're working with. You can't try to change the stream to be something else. You simply have to work with the way it moves.
If you want it to change direction, don't stand in its way, because then you will get wet. Or you will drown.
Or bloody and black and blue.
Yes. Yeah. Just try to make it aim in the direction you want it to, then it will be okay.
I never heard that analogy before.
I like it.
Very smart woman told me that.
You or the other woman?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it, but I really couldn't put it to words.
Yeah,
but she said it. Really, I think it's really the way I see it.
Got it.
If you wanted them to do something, open that door, and it will happen, because horses want to go forward.
Now, if you could not, I know this is a painful thing to think about, but if you could not work with horses, if you could not have them, ride them, what kind of career or passion do you think you would immerse yourself in?
I think I would be a radio host.
Well, you're going to have that option here very shortly.
It is quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems so much fun. And you don't have to comb your hair. That's a great thing.
No,
because I never look tidy. I always look as if I'm just rolled out of a sack of hay. So
okay, I like that.
How
would you choose 3 words to describe yourself? Just 3 words. And how you see yourself, not how you think other people see you, but how you see yourself.
I'm strong, happy, and lucky.
Strong, happy, and lucky.
Yeah. I like that.
I really want to move to Sweden now, Glenn. It's just sounding pretty good to me. Now, you've obviously worked with a lot of horses. You have a lot going on. You've raised children. Tell us, what is the most terrifying thing that you've ever done in your life, and would you do it again?
Oh, that was getting back up on a horse 3 years ago after a terrible accident, because I was riding a horse and everything was going fine. And then he reared, and I had been off the horseback for some time, and I was not taking my own advice, making him move forward. So I instinctively pulled the rein, and then he went over and fell over on his back with me under him.
Oh, goodness.
And then he stepped on my head. So I had quite a long recovery. And getting back up on a horse after that was absolutely scary. And it took about a year and a half until I could sit on a horse without leaning forward and, clutching myself in the reins. Yep. But now it's good. And I would do it again. But I couldn't say any day, because it took some time. It took 500 days until it was okay. But I would do it again, because it's worth it.
What do you remember the moment when you let go of the most gripping kind of fear? You remember that moment?
Yeah. And I remember the moment after, when I felt that everything was put in place again. And I was almost astonished that I wasn't scared, that everything was fine. And I was with my horse again. I was not sitting on an animal. I was with my horse, and we were together.
You were back. You were.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
was
finding
back.
yourself again, and that
Yes.
person who it's like she never went away. You feel like she's gone, and you'll never find her again. And then one day she just shows up, and you're amazed that she still exists.
Exactly. And again, I was that little girl on the horrible Viking pony that I had when I was a child, doing scary things, not thinking about it.
Yeah, the things that ponies will terrify you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you have a lot of horses, but if you could choose one of them, and you could ask one of your horses a question, and he or she could answer you, what would you ask?
I would ask Electrify, my mare, what she thinks is in that mud puddle that she never ever wants to step through. I really want to know.
All the others have come up with these intellectual, really deep thought things. Sarah comes up with, what's wrong with a mud puddle?
That is perfect.
That's perfect, Sarah.
That is perfect. That's it for our rapid fire questions, Sarah. They were really interesting. What an enjoyable discussion we've had.
Oh, this was so much fun.
Thank you, Sarah. And people
Thank
who want to
you.
look for Sarah, watch Horses in the Morning. We'll be announcing when her episode's going to come out in May and which weekend it'll be. It'll be one of our special weekend recorded episodes. So, Sarah, thank you so much. We're looking forward to working with you. And look, you'll get to be a radio host.
Oh, this is my dream come true again.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Från stalledräng, stalledräng vattnade sina fålar fem, stjärnor tindrar så klara, gossar lustiga vara, en gång blott om året så en fröjd för djur vi får. Femte fålen apelgrå, rider ju Staffan själv upp på, stjärnor tindrar så klara, gossar lustiga vara, en gång blott om året så en fröjd för djur vi får.
Hello, folks. Uncle Jimmy here, and welcome to the world of Uncle Jimmy brand products, where funny names mean serious products. Featuring Uncle Jimmy's Squeezy Buns, the squeezably soft hand treat that your horse will love. The award-winning Uncle Jimmy's Hangin' Balls. Uncle Jimmy's Sugar-Free Ball. The incredible Licky Thing, also in sugar-free. The amazing Uncle Jimmy's Pecker Wrecker. And the Big Licky. The infamous Uncle Jimmy Hangin' Ball was first designed by me for my own horses to help reduce the bad habits which come from stall boredom. It now can be found around the world. This nutritious, flavored-filled boredom buster will help keep your horses occupied and happy around the clock. Properly hung, it will last for weeks, provided you don't let your horse pin it, and Uncle Jimmy knows who you are. The ball comes in 4 flavors: apple, carrot, peppermint, molasses, and now sugar-free. Once again, welcome to the world of Uncle Jimmy's brand products, where funny names mean serious products, and satisfaction is 100% guaranteed.
This Tack and Habit segment is sponsored by Sparkle and Boom Marketing. Marketing, graphic design, websites, and advertising. And we specialize in the equestrian marketplace. Find us online at sparkleandboom.com.
Well, coming up for this Tack and Habit segment, I have an interview that I did with Dr. Jeff Tucker. Let's take a listen. Well, I'm so excited that in the studio, we have a friend that I met at the very beginning of the Horse Radio Network. And that's 8 years now. So it's been a long time. Dr. Jeff Tucker. Hi, Dr. Tucker.
Hey, what's your name again?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's been a little while,
I know I'm
I
at Jennifer's
think.
place, but... Oh, yeah, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn's here, too. You stopped by to float our horse's teeth, Jennifer's new horse, who was a freaking mess. But
He's in great hands, I might add.
Yeah,
in great hands.
And you know what? He felt much better after you were done, too. He did. He was back to eating already.
All right.
Now, I want to talk to you about a couple things. And I want to remind everybody, if you go to Horse Tip Daily and search for Dr. Tucker, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of different tips we did on dentistry. So you can always go back and take a listen to those, and I think we're going to rerun those here soon, too. The information has not changed in all these years. It's still the same. But you wrote a book. This is why I want you here today. You wrote a book, and I had such a fun time with this book. It's called Since the Days of the Romans, and it's your journey of discovering a life with horses.
That's it. Yep.
It's the life before horses that caught me off guard in this book, because you meet you, and I just don't picture you as a hippie in a dye-tied van driving around the countryside, visiting whoever will put up with you. What a story!
There's no chance of correcting that, is there?
No, that's in the book. Did you not think I was going to really pick on that?
I've lived a long time. I'm a child of the 60s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and is life-forming, as it is in any childhood. Those are the life-forming years. And I just let life carry me, which is a little bit different than most veterinarians who have a pre-plan of high school,
from the
college.
time in high school, yeah.
So my education was at a thoroughbred breeding and training farm.
You know, that's one of the things that I really took out of this book, and you mentioned it earlier, and I said I'm going to come back to that later, because one of the things I took out of this book is you had a lot of life experience before you ever went into college, let alone vet school.
Sure.
You know, and I think, you know, we've known a lot of people that have been in the professions like that, and one of the things you can tell by people is if they've had life experience before school. Kind of explain you could probably explain that better than me, but
I think everybody has a way of learning. Some is by reading books or watching videos, and others is just by doing. And I tried the reading thing, and the whole book actually is directed toward people who might have problems learning. They know they're not stupid. They know that they've got some intelligence, but the tests don't show it. And I wanted to write a book to say to these people, don't give up. Find your path, and it'll come to you. So I had horrible troubles reading.
Because this was not easy for you to get into vet school. This was not, you know, I had perfect grades, and I just got in, and I got a full ride scholarship. That was not the case.
Not the case at all. And one degree worse, when your father went to Dartmouth and Dartmouth Business School and Harvard Law School, and your grandfather went to Dartmouth, and Dr. Tucker was president of Dartmouth, and he's related to you by blood, you think, okay, I'm a shoo-in to go to the Ivy League schools. And I wasn't. I was barely able to get into college my first try. So I decided I'd try this college and this college and
At
that
what
college.
point in your future, we'll get back to that, at what point in your future did they start talking to you again?
My father rolls over in his grave knowing I went to Cornell. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, my mom was so happy when she saw me with a pager on my belt. She thought I had made it to the top.
That was it.
Mm-hmm,
you were big time then.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I think wisdom or life experiences, if you have great mentors, is huge. If you have bad mentors, you can be a really good crook. You know, you have to find the right mentors that lead you. And I found really good horsemen on this thoroughbred farm. They're older. They were wiser. They weren't really smart, but they had the experience. They said, Jeff, this is what you have to do. And then I met a great veterinarian who's passed away, John Steiner from Mahopac, New York, who ended up going to Kentucky. He was my original mentor, and it was so good to be in his truck learning all about horses or in a surgery suite. And I wasn't even thinking about going to college until I talked to him, and I said, you know, I was putting in that steroid ointment in the horse's eye. And it turns out that was the worst thing I could have done. And I ruined that horse's eye. And I never want to be doing that again. And he says, well, why don't you become a vet? And I said, well, it's too expensive. I'm just a stall mucker.
Because you hadn't been to college at that point, right?
I tried 3 times.
Yeah.
And had quit. And so I was being groomed to be the manager of this 100 to 300 horse thoroughbred breeding and training farm in New York. And that's where I was going to be until I met my wife, who said, she kicked me in the butt and said, it's time to think bigger, that you can do better. You're smarter than this. You can do more. And so I think it's the I hate to say perfect storm because that sounds sinister, but when the stars align, maybe, when the right person comes along to guide you, the mentors come to guide you, and you have faith that you can do it, you know you're not stupid, and you start to believe in yourself. When all these things come together, they gel, and then you send your application into Cornell. Why on earth they ever accepted me, I have no idea, but they did. I think they looked at me as a challenge.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I was accepted at Notre Dame coming out of high school, and I was going to be, this is even worse. You were all expected to go to college. I was one of 4 boys in the family, and nobody had ever gone to college. So I was the one expected to go to college because I was smart, quote unquote, right? So, and Notre Dame, we were Catholic, so that was even... Yeah, you know.
There's no other school.
And then I met these 2 guys. They were teachers of ours, actually, teachers of mine, and they went in the insurance business. Immediately when I graduated, they quit teaching and went in the insurance business. And they said, you'd be an excellent salesperson. You should try this. Well, it turned out I was. And that first summer, I made a lot of money. And then I went, well, I'll just put it off a year, and I'll keep working and making money, because that was pretty good when you're 18. And I never did go to college. And, you know, I think that disappointed my parents the day I died, or the day they died, actually. But I didn't, because those 2 mentors, talking about mentors, those 2, who are both passed away now, ironically enough, but those 2 were the best teachers. And my success today with the Horse Radio Network directly goes back to the sales experience I learned from them.
Yeah, it all, somebody has a purpose, and you can call it the finger of God or whatever. They keep nudging you in the direction that you didn't expect to go in. So, yeah, how do we get to where we are today? But I know that I'm grateful that all those experiences occurred to get me to where I am now. I know this sounds cliche, but after all these years, let's say I graduated from vet school in '84. I've been with horses since '73. I'm going to be 63 this year. And yet I get up in the morning more excited about going to work than I do the day before. And every time I talk to my associate or anybody else who has these exciting days, we just get juiced. We get pumped. So isn't that the way life should be?
Give your associate a shout out.
Melissa Bidet, she's an amazing gal who's joined me, but she's only part of the 4-man team. I'd be remiss to say the woman with the big boot that kicked me in the butt back in 1976.
Is still around? She kept you, rather.
After 38 years, Kathy has been with me.
It's because you're gone all the time.
Some people say that. I say we have great communication skills. So when we are together, it's a quality, not the quantity. Glenn, stop
laughing.
laughing.
Does she kick you out after about a week if you're home for a week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And my son has joined me a year ago as the marketing guru who does all my social media now and has boosted my fan base on Facebook up to over 13,000 now. And our goal
That's for an equine dentist. That's pretty darn good.
Well, can I get a little plug in here?
Yeah, go ahead. Plug away.
I've got not just the equine dentistry, which we call equine dentistry without drama, but
Which, by the way, it was today.
I'm so grateful. Thank God.
Because I would have told everybody.
Oh, my God, it was a mess. I also, we've started a school for equine dentistry, the Horsemanship Dentistry School. And that's just, we're teaching people around the world how to do what we do, because there's over 100 million horses, asses, and mules in the world that don't have any veterinary care. If I can reach some of those people and show them how just to take care of the dentistry care, it might make their lives a little bit better. And then we have the Horses Advocate, which just last month I made free to everybody, which has over 6,000 photographs, videos, whiteboards, presentations, to take all that I've learned since I started horses in '73 to become alive and simple and uncomplicated. In fact, Glenn, I've got a new word called complexicate. And complexicate means you take something simple and you make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I thought it deserved a new word.
That's what 90% of people do about life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a place where you can learn and grow. I write blogs. I do webcasts every month. I try to get all this information.
Are you still doing them from your truck while you're driving, or have you cut that back?
My truck turned 516,000 miles. That's big shout out to GMC Sierra 2500 HD. They're amazing trucks, Duramax diesels. And I'm negotiating trying to get a new vehicle out of them, so I hope they hear this. I videotaped when I went over, videotaped, listen to me, I'm ancient. Anyway, when it turned 500,000 miles, just to show people that I go on the road everywhere. I'm licensed in 10 states. I go as far away as Seattle, Louisiana, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all over in between, just reaching people who want to get quality horsemanship in their interactions with their horse. So the horse isn't treated as an object, but more as a living being that with thoughts, feelings, and wants, needs, and desires. And that's what makes us so different. And it goes back to this book that we have here. See, Glenn,
Since the days of the Romans.
Glenn loves
I'm going to just throw out the name again.
Glenn loves
Available
me.
on Amazon.
On Amazon. Jeff Tucker, Jeff with a G, Geoff Tucker, Tuckr. And don't forget to put the comma DVM, because I think there's another Jeff Tucker out there. But anyway, the point is, it all started back when I dropped out of college and worked full-time on a thoroughbred breeding and training farm, where I learned all these skills through life experiences. So, yeah, I've seen tens of thousands, 65,000 horses just floating teeth, let alone all the other horses I've dealt with. And each time you meet with a horse, they teach you something. And I think veterinarians who go straight from high school and college into veterinary practice should spend time with these older veterinarians who've got the wisdom, who've seen so many horses, and learn the nuances, because once you understand how a horse thinks, you can get so much more accomplished with them. I got nothing else to say.
Well, you know, it is true, and you have a unique practice. One of the things, do you still do it, because I watch them every day, and I think this is what made you popular initially on Facebook, and it was a talk back then. I think you know what I'm going to talk about, is you post pictures of the farms that you go to, some of the most beautiful places, or some of the most places that just have a ton of character, you know? And it's just, I don't know why it is, but we all like to look at pretty farms.
Yeah.
What started that? What brought that on?
There's two things. One, I've been a photographer since 1967. One of the three colleges I tried and dropped out of was Brooks Institute of Photography out in Santa Barbara, where I learned some of the techniques. So I've always been attracted to that medium. And with the digital photography out, I decided that I would get better. And I would take one set of pictures every day, and I would process them, and I would post them. And that's how Barn Pics came out. For 2 years, every day, without fail, I did it. So it was a matter of getting into habit. And I learned so much doing that. And I ended up getting people halfway around the world who were subscribing, just loved them. And then, of course, I yanked them off and ended that. And I'm thinking about putting them back on this year. So
when I saw your pictures on Facebook from Washington, from your trip out west, you know, that just reminded me of that, because that's the kind of pictures you used to take back then. You really should do it again.
I should. A regular, and I'm so involved with the school and doing all these publishing that I've kind of let it slide. And all the photographs I take of just dentistry, and all the ones for the Horses Advocate, like fence boards that are put on properly, or water buckets that are hung improperly, and all these safety things. In fact, my next webinar is just the top 10 safety things you can do to your barn. So it's just a matter of gathering them all together and organizing them. And there's just so much. There's just so much, but it's fun.
Well, and you can tell, I mean, when you were out there today, you can tell that you still, after all of these years of doing this, you enjoy your job. And, you know, you travel a lot, but it's a pretty cool job. You get to meet some interesting characters along the way, and some of them are in the book.
With not their real names.
with I assumed not their real names, because some of these stories, this book is very funny too. And anybody that has known Dr. Tucker for a while knows he has a sense of humor, and it comes out in your writing. It actually, I think, comes out more in your writing than it does just hanging out.
It's funny, because everyone who reads it says it sounds like me talking.
Yeah.
And the publisher decided to have a chapter that I wrote, and then they would put a story from my True and Incredible Stories of a Horse Vet in between each chapter. So it takes you away to when I am a vet, and then it takes you back to the story of...
Can I tell you that I loved that setup? Because when you got to those stories, they just stood alone. I mean, you could write a whole book of just these, obviously. But I loved that setup, because it takes you out of your story and then into a funny little situation that happens, or not so funny. Yeah. But I loved that setup.
So I got to read it 10 times. Yes, 10 times. And as Melissa is my witness, 9 out of 10 times I ended up crying at the end. It's truly my life. It's the passion. And I wrote.
I'm not too sure. I didn't have a tier two too. I think everybody will with this.
I wrote it for my son, just so he knows who Dad is. And
was he surprised at the whole van part in California?
I don't think he's read it.
That's for later.
Yeah, sometime when he's like
40.
Yeah, exactly. But I had to get down there because you never know when you're going to pass away and not have your story written. And for me, that's an important part of our history. But what you don't know, Glenn, it was just a year ago, my son almost died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was a really scary time where he got a bacterial infection that ended up setting up an abscess, a staph abscess, inside his spinal canal.
Oh, that's not good.
And that puts life into another perspective because there's an unwritten law. Your kids don't die before you.
Right.
So that really brought full circle how important it is that you kind of just make sure the family knows who you are and that you know who they are, and you try and get something going here. So the book is to him. The book is to anybody who's ever had a reading disability or some sort of thing that they had to surmount, or they didn't believe in themselves that they could be something more. And that's what it's all about in a very easy to read and entertaining thing if you like horses. But even if you don't like horses, it should be okay reading.
Oh, I agree. And, this is not a book about equine dentistry. Let's
not at all.
Yeah, not at all. No, this is a book about life. And I really, really did like it. I recommend this book to anybody. It's called Since the Days of the Romans, My Journey of Discovering a Life with Horses, Jeff Tucker. We'll put a link to it in the show notes for today. I'm going to post it on Facebook. It's still available at Amazon. I don't think it's that much money on Amazon, probably.
Well, I know I don't get much money, so I have yet to see a nickel from Amazon.
Really?
Don't even go there.
Can you order it on your website?
Just get it through Amazon.
Okay.
If you order from me, I got to buy 100 of them and then send them out.
And I got number 97, I think, by the way. It's numbered 97.
Yeah. But if you do get it from Amazon, you like it, write a review.
Okay, I'm going to write a review on there for you.
Reviews
definitely.
really help.
And this will definitely go on our books for the holidays, Christmas list.
Oh, Glenn, I'm so grateful.
No,
Thank
it
you
definitely
so much.
will, because I think anybody would enjoy this, especially a horse person.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker, and thanks for coming out and helping Jennifer's horse and My Little Pony.
Thanks, guys.
The little troublemaker. And what's the website, Dr. Tucker?
It's The Equine Practice. It's 3 words, the THE, theequinepractice.com. And everything that I do is you can go to from there.
Theequinepractice.com. Thanks.
Bye.
Well, it was so good to catch up with Dr. Tucker and actually to see him work for the first time. And he did such a great job with Jennifer's horse, which he said probably had, and Jennifer knew this, that horse that she just got, the big thoroughbred, probably hadn't had his teeth done in 5 years.
Well, that was a question. I know that she had said he had his wolf teeth pulled and there's a lot of filing to be done. Wow.
Do you know
he had his work cut out for him?
The only thing he uses, as we talked about, he doesn't use power tools, all hand tools. But what he does is he's very patient. He's kind of like a dentist whisperer. He's so patient, and he'll file for a little bit and then take a 5-minute break. And the horse just hangs out with him. Nigel was just putting his head on his arm. Now, no drugs.
So nice.
The only point where he gave him a little bit of painkillers was when he pulled his wolf teeth. And then he gave him a little bit of painkillers, but that was it. And then he did the pony, my Hackney pony, Scooter. He had just been done a couple months ago, but still had some sharp points that the vet missed.
Yeah.
So Dr. Tucker did those without any sedation. And the pony just trusted him. I got to tell you, it's amazing to watch when somebody has that kind of rapport.
I have seen that. My own horses get done by hand with a very chill dentist, and it's like no big deal. They put the file in there, they do this, do that, and the horse is relaxed to begin with, which I think it's just like people. When you're relaxed, you experience less tension and therefore less pain. The dentist can do their job without having to strong arm the patient. And, they're filing teeth. They're not cutting nerves open and stuff. Yes, things can happen. There's the gums that are sensitive and so forth.
Oh, and he had ulcers. Nigel had ulcers on both sides.
Oh, poor thing.
So he bled, because they ruptured. So he bled a little bit from both sides, actually.
But
Yeah,
you
his-
think about the horse's pain tolerance,
yeah.
right? It's the tension that gets them and the anxiety. So you have a guy like Dr. Tucker. Oh, my heart's
when
like,
he got the second ulcer on the other side, just because he was filing over there, it ruptured.
yeah.
Nigel left out the biggest sigh.
Oh,
It was just the biggest sigh, and now he's been eating so much better. So, get your horse's teeth done, people.
seriously.
Don't put it off because it just causes problems. He's so much happier now. So that was all good stuff. Thanks, Dr. Tucker, for stopping by. Well, for details about today's show, go to stablescoop.com, and also the app. We talked about it earlier in the show. You can get it iOS or Android, and look for the updates when they come out here very shortly. Search Horse Radio Network in the App Store.
Don't forget to log on next week for another episode of Stable Scoop. Of course, Glenn and I have absolutely no idea what the show is going to be.
We're going to talk a little bit about Rolex. We'll have come back from Rolex.
That'll be for sure. But you know what? You never know what we're going to get up to. So we can't really, there will be stories, there will be adventure. And of course, we'll be chatting about it. And you know what? Don't forget to get in touch with us because we love our listeners. We love your feedback. Follow us on Facebook. Send us email. You can reach me at helena@horseradionetwork.com and tell us your thoughts. We really do like to hear from you.
And we appreciate everybody that's been emailing about liking the Year of the Listener and listening to other listeners. It seems to be going over very well, and we really appreciate that.
And I think
that's it.
We're
done.
done.
Yay.
That's it. But
Like I said, pack. We have to get out of here.
What you have to get. Yeah, I know. I got to go groom my other horse now. That's it. But there will be more next week. Until then, happy scooping.